This is NBK, nothing but Knicks. When Sim passed the assist, you know that it's #1 show that breaks down the game. If you can't play defense, stay out my way. Dribble the ball, come down the lane. 5 seconds on the shot clock, who gon' win us the game? You wanna hear Nick updates and trade rumors? Post-game reviews, this the place you tune in. So tell a friend just to keep the ball moving. Like the page if you feeling the movement. Every game we coming to win. Give us a sub like a player that came off the bench. This is NBK, nothing but Knicks.
Knicks family, what's popping? I forgot to have the right overlay on. My bad. What's popping with you, ladies and gentlemen? I haven't seen you in a couple of days. I'm glad to be here. I got Ron with me. We got Andy in the building. And we're going to talk about this Knicks versus Cavs game. And guys, I barely even know what day it is right now, to be honest with you. Every time I turn around, I'm like, what day is it right now? But it is Sunday, right? We can confirm that it is Sunday, right?
It is.
Yeah, it's Sunday. Yeah, today's my last day here. I'll be flying back to the States tomorrow. And I'm actually looking forward to coming back to the States, man, because while being on vacation is great, it's always nice for me to get back to my regular schedule, because, I feel like I lose track with everything that's happening and everything that's going on. But it's been beautiful. It's been nice. I didn't really get a chance to watch much of the last game. I saw the second half of it. The game was going on during my brother's, birthday party, so I didn't get a chance to see all of it, but I did see the important half. I did see the second half, and it was a great comeback. But now we got the Cleveland Cavaliers, and we can't take the Cavaliers lightly. This is going to be a tough team to play. They're 6-4. We're 6-3. I think this is going to be a pretty tough basketball game for us. I really don't like the matchups in this game at all for the Knicks. I don't. You know what I mean? I don't like the matchups at all. Andy, I start with you. What's up with you, man? And any initial thoughts before we start breaking down the injury report and all of that stuff?
Yeah, what up, Sim? What up, Steph? What up, Ron? Happy to be on with you guys. Listen, guys, it's Sim's last night at vacation. Whoever didn't get the chance to send a super chat for Sim to have a drink on your tab, it's the last time you can get it, so he can cash in and get that drink.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
I've been drinking Bob Marley's all weekend, man.
Yeah.
Bob Marley's all weekend long. If you don't know what it is, just go. I don't know. Maybe there's got to be some places in the States. If you go ask for Bob Marley, you get a red, yellow, and green drink. Tastes great too. A little bit of rum in it. Yeah, it's great.
Nice.
It's great.
Yeah. I'm gonna Google that, Sim. I didn't see that in Europe anywhere, bro. So
yeah. It's here. It tastes great.
Yeah, cool. Sim, going back to the Knicks, listen, this is, we knew that this game is going to come, the first game without Kemba. I'm glad that it's only rest, because we're going to play a back-to-back, and they're going to, rest him on the first day. So, listen, we might see, McBride, sighting for a couple of minutes at least. And listen, it depends what Tibbs wants in the starting lineup. I wonder if it's going to be Rose, if it's going to be Quickly. I don't rule out him actually picking Quickly for the starting lineup.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see the way he goes. I'm assuming he's going to go with D Rose and then elevate somebody into the second unit. Who will it be? It's hard to say. A lot of people kind of assume it's going to be McBride. I'm not so sure it's going to be McBride. I think it might be Grimes, but Steph.
Right. Welcome back, Sim. Shout out to the panel, the chat. I think with Kemba not starting, don't be surprised if Tibbs just shortens the rotation. He may go with IQ just to keep that second unit intact some, and may stagger some minutes in the sense of having RJ play a little bit with the first and second team, which is what he did in in Milwaukee. I think IQ's defense, I noticed that in Summer League, has gotten progressively better throughout the season, and it was really on display against Milwaukee. His decision making, though, if you start him, will he make the right decisions? It's not that big of a deal with this team because many players initiate the offense, but you definitely don't want him coming down jacking up shots. Like, you definitely want him to play within the flow of the offense. And quite frankly, for the past few games, he has been. So it'll be interesting to see if he starts just to keep Rose coming off the bench. I think no matter what, Rose is going to get the majority of the minutes.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Ron.
Yeah, I agree. I think that IQ, at least in my eyes, I think IQ is going to be the one who gets the start. I think Tibbs tried it a couple different times last year and noticed that the fluidity out there on the court wasn't as good when Rose is in the starting lineup with these guys. Like, it seems to be much better, pace and much better flow when he's coming in with the second unit. And I think you don't miss a lot if you bring IQ in and have him out there starting. I actually think unfortunately, I kind of feel like this might be a little bit more of an eye opener. Like, having IQ out there in the starting lineup might make you feel a little worse about Kemba, because I think that IQ's defensive effort and what we saw against Milwaukee, if he can still bring that same type of effort and display what the Queen was talking about, as far as not going out there and chucking up shots, and I don't think he will. I think because he knows he'll be in that role, he knows he's got to help try to facilitate. I think quickly plays better when he does that. So I think that's what it's going to be. And I wouldn't be surprised if the rotation kind of stays the same with just that addition. Who knows? They just might make quickly play more minutes. Rose might get the majority of the minutes and still not touch Grimes or McBride. I hope they do,
Right.
get at least McBride or Grimes, a couple minutes, but we'll see.
Yeah. I tend to think right now he's going to start Rose. Although if it were me, I would elevate somebody from, probably McBride. If it were me, that's what I would do. And I know that McBride hasn't been, playing a lot or doing anything, only playing in like blowout games. But I would elevate McBride so that you keep the bench unit the same and you don't have to make two adjustments. I don't think he's going to do that, though. I think he's going to elevate either Rose or IQ. I think it's going to be Rose, but if it is IQ, I wouldn't be surprised, because in my keys to the game, I have, that we need someone to be a leader off the bench. And so for that simple fact, it might be that he elevates IQ rather than Rose. But if he does elevate Rose to the starting lineup for tonight, then, who's that leader on the floor for that second unit? I don't know.
Oh, and actually, you know what? You just made me think of he might throw us a curveball. He might elevate McBride to give him some minutes to help spell people from on the bench side, but he could just go with what he did before and put Burks in the starting lineup and have Burks run the point.
He could, and he has done that. He has done that before. It's going to be interesting to see who he actually puts in that starting lineup. And for those who may not be aware, according to the injury report, Kemba Walker is out tonight for rest. No other purposes, just rest. Because it's the first night of a back-to-back. For the Cleveland Cavaliers, Kevin Love is out. Lauri Markkanen is out. Isaac Okoro, he's out. Right, so those guys are out for tonight's game, ladies and gentlemen. That is interesting, though, Ron, that Alec Burks, he might choose to elevate Alec Burks into that starting lineup. I really don't like Alec Burks playing the point guard spot. I know last year they played him when they needed to play him, but I really didn't like it. I wasn't a fan of it. I didn't think he did. I feel like you use Alec Burks in a pinch. All of your point guards are down. Kemba's out, Rose is out, IQ is, he has to step up, and then maybe you go with Burks in a pinch. But I'm not a fan of using Burks in that role. But let's just say he does elevate Burks to the starting lineup. Who do you think now comes in for Burks? Is it Grimes or is it Knox?
I think RJ plays more minutes. I don't think he.
Okay.
I don't know if he extends the rotation. I think he shortens it. And I think, you know, maybe like I was saying, RJ gets minutes with that first team and the second team.
I mean, but then I think like I could see him doing that and having some of his horses, you know, play even longer. But RJ played 39 minutes against Milwaukee. Like, how much more is he going to play? Like, I don't
He's
know.
young. He's 21.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Right.
Listen, Miami is doing it with their aging veterans. Not Milwaukee. Miami is doing it with their aging veterans.
Right.
And they're looking good.
Very good. Very good.
They're looking very good. Very good. I mean, you know, RJ's been playing a lot with the second unit. You know, so yeah, I mean, you could be right. He just shortens the bench and says we're just going to let RJ play, and then let Randall play some as well. You know, with the second unit, maybe they. I don't know. I mean, if Randall plays some, then you know, then I guess that means he's going small ball with the second unit, and you know, Nerlens Noel had a good game the other night, so yeah, that's gonna be interesting to see who he decides to play in that starting lineup. You know, I don't know if it necessarily is going to be based on performance. I think it's going to be based on you know, what works best for the team overall. You know, and keeping rotations the same and all that kind of stuff. You know, so I don't know if it's going to have anything to do with, oh well, this guy's been playing really, really good. I want to take a quick look at the projected starting lineups, and you know, as we're saying, we don't really know who's going to be starting at that point guard spot. I guess what we do know is it's going to be between Rose and Quickly, and then Ron just brought up Burks, so it could be between any of those guys. I think it's probably going to go by, maybe it's going to go by matchups. Right, and if you bring Burks in, is he really going to guard Darius Garland? You know, maybe IQ is better suited to guard Darius Garland, right? And then somebody's got to guard Colin Sexton. This is an area that I'm a little bit worried about in defending the perimeter. You know what I mean? So I don't know who's better suited. Is it Rose or IQ better suited to guard Darius Garland? Or then you got Evan Fournier and Colin Sexton. Not liking that matchup. RJ Barrett, Dean Wade, Julius Randle at the power forward, and Evan Mobley. While I think Julius Randle should be able to win that matchup, I don't like, you know, Evan Mobley is young and he's springy. You know, he's got a lot of energy. You know, that concerns me about that matchup. And then you got Mitchell Robinson and Jared Allen. I don't know. Who do you think is best suited to guard Darius Garland?
I mean, if I had a choice between what we currently have, I'm gonna say I like IQ. I like the because what I did see from Quickly in the Milwaukee game, he was pretty active and he was moving like he gets up and down the court, and I like that because I mean Garland is fast. Sexton is pretty fast, but Garland I think is probably one of the faster guards. So it's a tough matchup. And while I know Rose could probably stay with him, and Rose can use his size and the way his jumping ability to kind of affect different things with him, I don't want Rose to get all tired out running down chasing Darius Garland around the court if we don't have to have that. Right. And it would be great. Look, I don't see what's wrong with throwing McBride out there for a couple minutes in spurts. Maybe you say, okay, we start IQ, or even if it's Burks, 3, 4, 5 minutes, then give us a little a choice to see Deuce off the bench. Give him like 3 or 4 minutes. Then, okay, you come in with, you know, Rose is already in the game, but then you kind of rotate positions. Rose is the one kind of orchestrating. I just think, come on, man, what's Deuce doing there but getting splinters? I want to see him in the game at some point, just a little bit. You're not going to destroy the offensive capabilities of the team, and he's not going to kill you on defense. Like, I don't know. whatever.
It's a wrap with that. I mean, yeah.
Yeah. I know, Andy. Who do you think? Who do you think is better suited to guard Darius Garland?
Listen,
given his-
I think we should look at the other way around. I think who of our starting point guards could have the easiest way on Darius Garland, because looking at our lineup defensively versus Garland, I don't think any of these guys is a good matchup on the defensive end. I think though Garland would have most trouble with D Rose actually. Maybe with Burks because he's way bigger than him. But we know that Burks, offensively, he could fill in that point guard spot when we had Randall as the main playmaker on the offense. So just to bring up the ball to the court, up the court and just throw it to Randall, that wasn't a problem. Then again, when you think that both Sexton and Garland can, apply full court pressure on our guards, I rather see Quickly or Rose. And you know how I am with Quickly, it's the last resort for me. So, so I'm gonna go with Rose.
Right.
That way. And I really think that Rose can have his way with Garland. He's not a rookie, but he's still a young guy. I think Rose can dissect him on the offensive end and really, shred the defense of the Cavs that way. What we gotta remember is that the 1-5, pick and roll game and the drives to the hole are going to be, altered by Jared Allen. Listen, they got a guy exactly like we have in Mitch Robinson. And, we got to think about that because, just getting past that first line of defense doesn't mean it's going to be an easy bucket. And, Cavs having Allen at the center position is actually one of the worst, things that could happen for the Knicks guards trying to go straight up to the hoop.
Yeah, that mid range better be on today.
Yeah,
That's what I
exactly.
would do.
I was going to say. And that's why McBride actually fits the description. He can pull up from the free throw line extended. D Rose can do it as well. But for me, I think Quickly has that floater. He can go over Allen, right? Listen, I would go off on Quickly, but he had a good last game. I can't throw on it. So listen, if that would be one game before, this wouldn't be even a discussion.
The last thing I was going to say about as far as these lineup choices that we got that I was going to bring up is another lineup that I've been seeing floating around that Knicks fans kind of want to see. I don't necessarily want to see it, even though I love RJ. But another lineup option is bringing Burks into the starting lineup at the 3 or the 2, either one, moving Fournier to the 3 or the 2, and having RJ be the point for a little bit and having him control the offense.
Well, I think if you move Burks up, then it probably becomes, any one of the 3 can initiate the offense.
Right,
between Burks, Fournier, and RJ. If you move him into that starting lineup. Now, if you move him into that starting lineup, that means, we're going to be way bigger than them in the starting lineup. Maybe that's something that we could exploit, exploit that size. Because when you look at, I don't know how big Dean Wade is, but, when you look at Darius Garland and Colin Sexton, they're both small guards, and they'd have to deal with, Burks, Fournier, or RJ, depending on how they decided to defend, if Burks was the starter, which could, like Andy said, maybe you go and you look at how to beat them on the offensive side, and that could be a way to beat them with size. It would still concern me a little bit on the other end because they'd have so much more speed than us. We've already had trouble guarding the perimeter. Now we got a bunch of big guys guarding, a couple of small guys. I don't know how, if it would give us trouble or not.
Right.
They're going to give us trouble regardless.
Right.
If Kemba was here or if Rose is out there or if IQ is out there, they're going to give us trouble.
Yes,
those guys.
I just checked Dean Wade. He's 6'9", 230. So
Okay, 6'9", 230. So he's a big small forward that can go back
Yeah,
and forth between the small forward and power forward position.
Right.
And this is the
yeah.
type of thing that can be troublesome for the Knicks, man. What do you think about that Dean Wade and RJ Barrett matchup? I don't know much about Dean Wade,
Me either.
but size wise, I mean, I guess RJ should be okay. I'm hoping. I don't
Yeah.
know about him, so I don't want to just say, yeah, RJ should dominate the matchup. But I mean,
Right.
that's how it
Right.
seems to go sometimes. We haven't heard of a guy, and we're like, oh yeah, RJ should dominate that. Then the guy comes out and kills us. I don't know, but
Yeah,
I'm looking for RJ to have a good game.
I think Dean Wade is a very adequate basketball player. He can shoot the three, and his defense is pretty good. It's not nothing, at least from what I've seen, is nothing stellar. So I think RJ should be able to do certain things out there on the court. The size might be a little bit of an issue because we saw RJ against Boston, and Boston has guys like Tatum and other guys who can kind of have size over him, even though he's taller. I just think that I think he should be fine against Wade. I think it's just all about the fact that if RJ was the RJ of last year, then maybe I'd be a little worried because he wasn't being as aggressive and taking it to the hole and giving you different looks. But this year's RJ, who seems to be doing a lot more on the court, I don't think it's going to be a problem for him. He should be fine.
Yeah. Steph, any thoughts about RJ and Wade, and then I want to talk about Evan Fournier and Colin Sexton because that's a matchup that
Yeah.
concerns me a little bit.
Yeah. For sure. I don't know much about D Wade. Just that it's not the D Wade that played for Miami. He would really be in trouble.
Right.
But the way RJ is playing, like Ron said, I like the fact that he can mix it up, and we'll see. I mean, I think this is a good test for RJ to be able to size up his defender and be able to say, where can I get my shots? So is this going to be a mid-range? Am I going to be able to pull up from the three? Am I going to be able to take this guy all the way to the basket? Is this somebody I could post up? So this will be a good test for him. I also want to go back quickly to we're talking about the guards. It may not be that bad with Kemba out, because I think if you have one horrible defensive player or not so good defensive player, it's not as bad as when you have two. So like having Kemba and Fournier out there, not that Fournier can't play defense, it just hasn't been clicking as of late. That makes it really, really tough. But if it's just one person, like say Fournier this game, we may be all right.
How do you think Fournier does against Colin Sexton? I think that's a tough matchup.
I think it's a tough matchup as well. And Fournier, I mean, Sexton will shoot the three, right? And so, you kind of want to be up on him to prevent that. But he can also drive to the basket as well, right? Um, I think the issue may be that he's a willing passer, but he's not much of a playmaker. Um, but he ain't looking, he not like Cole Anthony want to get in there and pass it out. When he's getting in there, he's trying to score. So I think
Right.
it's going to be a really, really tough matchup for Fournier, frankly.
Right. Right. I think that's going to be a tough matchup, and we'll see how they decide to defend it. And of course, the matchups could be depending on who's guarding. I mean, who's inserted into the starting lineup, they could decide to put either Rose or IQ or whoever on Colin Sexton, and then maybe Fournier. Either one of those guys would be a tough matchup for Evan Fournier. So that's something to really watch out for. Is that guard matchup? It does concern me a little bit. Looking at the team comparison between the two teams, the Knicks are averaging 113 points per game. The Cavaliers 104. The Knicks are grabbing 47 rebounds a game for the most part, 45 for the Cleveland Cavaliers. The Knicks 22.4 assists, the Cavaliers 24 assists per game. 7.4 steals for the Knicks, 7.7 for the Cavs, 5.8 blocks for the Knicks, 3.8 for the Cavs. The Knicks are a pretty low turnover team at 12.9. The Cavs here says 15.7. But what I looked at a little earlier was 16.4, and they were down towards the bottom of the league in turnovers. They both shoot about 45% from the field. The Knicks shoot 37% from three, while the Cavs shoot 32.5. The Knicks are 75% from the free throw line. The Cavs are about 77 points in the paint. The Cavs average 49.4 points in the paint. The Knicks 45.1. Cleveland Cavaliers and the Knicks both average about 14 second chance points. They both average about 11 fast break points. The Knicks are led in scoring by Julius Randle. The Cavs are led by Colin Sexton. The Knicks are led in rebounding by Julius Randle. The Cavs are led by Jared Allen. Julius Randle leads the Knicks in assists at 5.7 per game. Darius Garland leads the Cavs with 7.9 assists. Evan Mobley leads the Cavs in blocks at 1.3. And Mitchell Robinson, of course, leads the Knicks at 1.22. And then, of course, you got Nerlens Noel, who is finally back off injury, played a great game against the Milwaukee Bucks, who, he doesn't have his blocking, we don't know what his average is going to be yet, but, rest assured he's going to be a shot blocking demon for us. What do you think about the Julius Randle and Evan Mobley matchup? Andy, I'll start with you.
Yeah. Well, listen, this is the battle between the most improved, second NBA all-team player versus a rookie. So, as far as I see it, Julius Randle should, at least in his head and going into the game, want to, take over that matchup. And actually, I think, one of the keys to the game, going a little bit step forward, should be getting both Mobley and Allen in foul trouble. That's going to be, a great thing for the Knicks if those two guys get on the bench and have less minutes on the court. And I really think that Julius can have his way with Mobley. I realize that he has, around 10 games under his belt, but I don't think that's enough to play versus a guy so versatile offensively like Julius Randle. You muted, Sim.
Sorry about that. What do you think about Julius Randle defending him, though? And I mean, obviously his game is not well defined offensively, but they use him in a screen and roll. I watched them play against the Lakers, and I mean, I don't know how many dunks he got off the screen and roll against the Lakers. When I watched him, yeah, he can be a very troublesome player for us, I think. So I don't know if Julius Randle can. He doesn't guard guys like that a lot. Guys that are springy and can jump and can, play in that, catch the oop. He doesn't guard that many guys like that, and I'm a little concerned about how he's going to guard them.
Yeah, that's true, Sim, and we got to realize that Julius, he wasn't put in position to guard many of those roll guys, and this guy is rolling straight up to the hoop. He ain't taking no shortcuts. He goes straight to the hoop for that hoop. So this might be a concern, and I hope we're gonna see the Julius that brings the hustle on the court, not the one that's looking around, to the stands and is thinking about something else, except the game. So let's hope he's on the court present with his body and with his mind. So
Steph.
I think offensively, guys with that type of length tends to give Randle trouble. I'm hoping that because he's a rookie, maybe Julius will be able to take advantage of him somehow. I think Julius, he has the foot speed as well, but with Julius, handle, he should be able to get to his spots, so I would think if he stays in the mid range in the three, he should be okay. I think trying to post him up, I think Julius gets too aggressive in the post and seems to lose focus, like trying to bully and push guys. And this guy is pretty long. Randle is 6'8", this guy's like 6'11". So I would really stay out of I don't know if I want to say stay out of the post, but I'm not sure if he's going to have an advantage in the post, put it that way. Defensively, listen, I, Randall is okay one-to-one defense. He's okay there. He's not a good off-the-ball defender. And if he gets picked off, now it's really on the rest of the team. What are the rotations? What are the rotations like? And is Randall going to fight to get back into the play? Right? So I think if it's one-on-one, he's going to do okay. Pick and rolls, things like that. Um, let's see. But I'm more concerned about Randall off the ball. If somebody else's guy has the ball and they're driving to the basket, Randall could be right there. He will not step over to either take a charge, to do anything to impede that person's way to the basket. So I'm more concerned about him off the ball.
Yeah, yeah. Evan Mobley, ladies and gentlemen, this season has averaged 13.8 points per game, 7.9 rebound game, and 2.3 blocks. And yes, he is 6'11", 215 pounds. That can, it's going to be tough for Julius Randle, I think, to post him up, because Julius Randle's 6'8", and while he's stronger than him, he can use his size. And I think that's going to be, this is going to be an interesting matchup to watch. Then you got Mitchell Robinson and Jarrett Allen. Right, Ron, what do you think about that matchup?
This one's tough for me because traditionally Mitchell Robinson and Jarrett Allen have some really good battles. I think they like going up against each other. I think it's that kind of camaraderie they have because of the fact that they're both springy guys who are athletic and get after it, and they're good at blocking shots. But I'm worried about the current Mitchell Robinson that we have and the Jarrett Allen who is playing like normal Jarrett Allen. There's nothing going on with him. So I hope Mitch goes out there and does what we're used to seeing him do. I hope for his sake that he gets the right positioning and is able to get to spots before Jarrett can. Because from what I saw in that Milwaukee game, Mitch seemed very slow to spots. He was trying to get rebounds with his athleticism, and that wasn't really working. He tried to stick his hand over certain players just to try to pry the rebound, and that wasn't working. So I want him to go back to being able to get to the spots, boxing out, and doing what he needs to do in order to secure those rebounds. Because obviously, I want Mitch to have a good offensive game if he can. You would love to see him get block shots and affect the game that way. But I think rebounds is the key. If Mitch can get around the 9-10 rebounds and even more, that's great. But if he can get around there, then I think he's helping the Knicks, because I think the Knicks have to out-rebound all of their opponents in order to get victories. Because our defense is going to be lacking at some points. So if we can get those rebounds and keep those second chance opportunities at a minimum, I think we're good. Now, Jarrett Allen on the other end is going to go out there, and I think Jarrett Allen's going to have his way because he's got a lot of bounce. He's just he's a problem. This matchup might be worse than the Milwaukee matchup because they're very athletic, they're young, springy, they're fast. This is a tough team for us. So I'm hoping they can contain them.
It is. Jarrett Allen this year is averaging 14.6 points per game, 11 rebounds, and 1 block per game. So they got 2 guys that can block shots on this team, just like the Knicks do. So from that center to the power forward position, actually from the center to the 3 position, we're going to be severely outsized. Now, we should outsize them in the guard spots, right? But when you look at Jarrett Allen and Mitchell Robinson about the same size, but then Julius Randle and Evan Mobley. Evan Mobley has a 3-inch height advantage. Dean Wade has a 2-inch height advantage on RJ Barrett, right? And then, of course, Evan Fournier, he'll have a height advantage on whoever he's guarding, whoever he matches up against, and then it's going to depend on who we start. If we would have had a height advantage or not. Now, if Kemba Rose was playing, I mean, I always say Kemba Rose. I don't know why I say. If Kemba Walker was playing, then we would have a height disadvantage at one of those guard spots as well. So this is a team that is longer and bigger than us. And, the athletics. So this could be, this is a team I think will win the game, but this is a team that I think can give us trouble.
No doubt about it. And Sam, I think that Allen has the edge over Mitch. I just don't think Mitch is there yet. If this was later in the season, you
Mhm.
know, it maybe it'll be a little different. But right now, Mitch seems to still be, rounding into shape. I don't know if the increased weight has to do with it as well. Him learning how to play at that weight, that might be an issue. But Allen is already there. And he has a little offense, like the little jump hook. If you do get him the ball down there, I'm not saying they look for him per se, but if he gets deep down in there, they will give it to him. He does have a little jump hook, so Allen definitely has the advantage. But the question is, can both of our centers together, Noel and Mitch, outplay him and whoever is backing him up? Because as I think it was Andy or someone said, Noel already looks like he in mid-season
Yeah,
form, just in
yeah,
terms of his stamina, in terms of his quickness, and he's really locked in defensively. So, and I don't think I mean, Allen is bigger than him, but he's more mobile. So let's
right.
see. If Mitch is getting outplayed, Tibbs may go more with Noel.
Yeah, yeah. Steph, it's
Mhm.
me said I'd go small ball tonight a little bit, turn our disadvantage into an advantage. Would you mess around with the
Yeah.
small ball a lot tonight?
Um, that's a tough question because you want to you've given up something on the defensive end, but will you gain more on the offensive end? I'm not sure. I'm not sure if it'll be a net positive because those guys alley they're athletic too. Like they could just jump
Yeah,
over us and dunk the ball. So now you're giving up a lot of alley oops, a lot of lobs. And I don't know if we're that efficient on the offensive end, though we could probably run a little more, but I still think they would have the edge if we went small ball.
yeah, yeah. Andy?
Yeah. Going back to the question from It's Me. Do you guys think that a faster pace of a game, maybe not pace, maybe tempo of the game, is gonna be an advantage for the Knicks or a disadvantage in
That's a
this
good
Cavs
question because
matchup?
that's the small ball.
Yeah, because yeah, exactly. That's like tied to the small ball, right?
Right,
So
right.
listen, taking into account that the Cavs are might be even younger squad than the Knicks,
Hmm.
and it's not only about youth and age, but I think the athleticism from what the Cavs bring on the court, playing faster pace might be a disadvantage for the Knicks this time. And I'm not saying, listen, bring up the ball, give it to Julius, and play, like we played on the beginning of the last season, that he's gonna, be the playmaker of the whole offense and stuff like that. But
Right.
I'm not sure we can run with this team.
Well,
Because
you know
Mobley
what,
is
Andy?
mobile at
Yeah,
6'11", right?
exactly.
Mobley is mobile. Yeah,
Mobley.
but I think this is all about you got to make if you want to try to play small ball and have that type of game plan. This is a concerted effort. This is a game plan for the game. And if that was the case, then I think we would have to see Deuce and Grimes and
Hmm.
maybe even Jericho if there's foul trouble or some other issues. But we could do it. Just would Tibbs be willing to go all out and make a concerted effort to do it? Because once you're right, I don't think we can really run with them if we're just going out there with our regular personnel. But if we add, what we got on our bench, these youthful guys who can play the game and try to run up and down with them, I think we could do it. But I just don't know if Tibbs is ready because that requires all types of different options and putting people in there and playing them more minutes than maybe you want to because they're able to run up and down the court. I don't know. You might be right, Andy. Maybe not.
And Ron, let me just point out one thing that probably most Knicks fans don't think about. Playing McBride versus a team like the Cavs, putting him on full court pressure on their ball handler it's gonna actually slow down the pace. It's gonna be 2-3 seconds per possession. But that's gonna be huge for the Knicks to get that time to set up the defense. So people don't think about those 1, 2, 3 seconds, right? But that's huge to get that defense set up and don't they get a young fast team run on you. So I think that's why playing Deuce at least a couple of minutes is going to be really valuable. And not to mention if he got like 20 minutes, that will really slow down the Cavs by one player. It will slow down the whole Cavs team.
Right. Can I say this
yeah.
though about the rookies? I mean, I agree with what Ron said in the sense that playing them a few minutes a game is not going to hurt us, and if we see it's not going well, you can definitely pull them out. But let's not act like you're going to just throw these rookies in and they're going to hit the ground running. Like they haven't played.
Yeah.
They're playing against top flight, defensive guards. It's going to be somewhat of of an adjustment. But I agree. Like if you're putting them out there for a few minutes at a time, you can kind of contain any mistakes. But just thinking that we're going to just put them out there for an extended period of time and everything is going to go smooth, I would be shocked if that was the case. It's just a different ball game, and they have to play both ends of the court. They can't just play defense. On offense, they have to hit shots. They have to know what's going on. They have to be in the flow of the offense as well. So I'm all for them getting minutes and just kind of seeing how it goes.
Yeah.
Right. And don't be surprised if the Cavs make the decision for us. Because the Cavs start running us out the building, Tibbs may be forced to do something different.
Right. Exactly.
Tibbs is just so
But
set. Like it's like I'm gonna take the L
Yeah.
before I
Yeah, exactly.
before I make a change.
I'm gonna play my game.
Right. I mean, like even mixing it up, nah, we'll see.
Right.
Yeah,
and
but
Tibbs, I'm gonna come right to you, Andy. My fault. But Tibbs does that so much that when he does make a change, that indicates panic, in my opinion. Right? And like that's to me, that's what happened in the playoffs. Took Elfrid Payton out, put Derrick Rose in the starting spot. To me, and I think to the team, that was like, oh yeah, it's panic time now. He thinks, he doesn't like what's happening. He doesn't feel we can win, so he made a change.
Right.
So when you see Tom Thibodeau really start making changes, big changes to lineups and things, I think okay, something's bad. Something bad is happening right now.
Right.
You know what I mean? Go ahead, Andy.
Yeah, I just want to add that when we see these young guards like quickly, like McBride, picking up full court, it's straight up tactics. It's not like listen, I think IQ can take the ball out of these guys hands. He's just slowing down the pace of the game,
right?
Because he wants it slower. It's not like quickly he just does it by himself because he wants to show off his defense. No, it's not about that. No, Tibbs is the main guy that's the guy that's plugging in the whole orchestra, right? He's just showing off these guys what do you have to do, and I know that he's not gonna be on D-Rose. That listen, you got to pick up the full court because we want them to slower down the pace. But quickly and McBride, he's gonna steer him how he wants him. So. And they're gonna do what Tibbs really wants. So I'm curious to see what's gonna be the tactics because I really feel that Tibbs will have to uncover those cards that he has really soon in this game.
Right. Yeah, I think it's gonna be a tough one, man. Some of the keys to the game that I have is an adjustment with Kemba being out. There's going to be some kind of an adjustment, whether it's Derrick Rose or IQ being in that starting lineup. That group's going to have to adjust a little bit, but they're going to be adjusting on the fly. If Derrick Rose is the starter, then someone's got to step up and be the leader on the bench. I don't know who that is. I don't know if it's IQ. Alec Burks doesn't really strike me as a leader. Not. not saying anything bad about him, but just like a floor leader. He's not a floor leader, so I don't know how that's going to look. I think we've got to capitalize off of turnovers. Cleveland averages about 16 and a half turnovers per game, somewhere between 15 and a half to 16 and a half turnovers per game. And they give up, opponents average 21.1 points per game off of turnovers versus Cleveland. So if we can turn them over and make sure we convert off of those turnovers, that's going to be an advantage for the Knicks. I think we've got to match their energy. Again, like we said, they're young. They're jumpy, they're springy, they're long. You know what I mean? So we've got to match their energy when we come out. If not, that could be trouble for us. We got to make sure we don't have. For me, I've seen us have different levels of energy in different games. Yeah, we're 6-3, but we've had some low energy nights. Julius Randle's had some low energy nights. I think we've got to make sure we keep our energy level high. And then perimeter defense, and I spelled perimeter wrong, but perimeter defense, we've got to play perimeter defense, and I think have good rotations because we may need to help out a lot. Colin Sexton, Darius Garland both got speed. They can get to the cup, so we got to have somebody help. And then when the ball is kicked out, you got to be able to swing out, rotate back out and get to the person you were defending. So those defensive rotations, I think, are going to be key tonight, because you got two quick guards that can get to the cup. Andy?
Yes, let me shout out this reporter by name, because maybe one day he's gonna have the chance and opportunity to join us on this panel. Ian Begley just reported that D Rose will be the starting point guard for the Knicks today.
Okay, it's gonna be the starting guard. I kind of thought that he would be the starting guard, but so now the question is, who's going to step up off the bench, and who's going to take the leadership role,
right?
Off the bench. You know what I mean? Now it could be that Rose is still going to play some with the second unit, and RJ plays some with the second unit, and then maybe that's your answer right there. Like Steph was saying, just shorten the lineup. So that's going to be interesting.
Or you know what? Sorry to cut you off, Andy. This also might be a really good chance for Quickly to go out there and show that he can get some things done, because this could be one of those moments where we see, well, obviously Quickly and Obi, they had worked on a two-man game. We haven't seen a lot of it. We saw it in the preseason a little bit. We haven't seen it in the regular season, and if there was a chance where he wanted to use Grimes, Quickly was out there running that unit in the summer league with Grimes and Obi. So they had a little chemistry out there. They had some good games. So maybe this is an opportunity to see what happens with that.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's an opportunity for Emmanuel Quickly. To just kind of have that second unit to himself. I would like to see them, me personally, throw Grimes in there. Not that I have anything against McBride. It's just that I think it would fit better, having a guy that doesn't need to have hit the ball in his hands to make something happen.
Right.
I think it fits a little bit better. So I'd like to see Grimes come in that second unit. With Dick Rose being the starter. But, I think there's a good chance, like Steph was saying, that the lineup is just shortened, and nobody actually comes in at all. I think there's a good chance that happens. So
I think it's kind of funny that one guy's sitting and we talk about all these different lineup possibilities, all these different alterations, because that's like, this team has certain levels. Like if something's off in one level, we got to figure out how to make it right, because it's not we haven't been playing on all cylinders. If this team had been going good and our offense is clicking and the defense has been playing, I don't think we'd be even worried about, hey, plug in whoever you want. But it's just that right now we still trying to find ourselves.
Yeah, we're still trying to find ourselves, and we're still a team that works off of chemistry, I think. because we don't
Yeah.
have the super duper stars. So I still think we're a team that, relies on our chemistry to get us over. It's the reason why
Right.
they kept 8 of the 10 players that's in the rotation are coming back. They're the same. So,
Right. Sam, that's what I wanted to say in terms of the keys to the game. One of them is to get back to that. We don't really know which team is going to show up each game. Now, that Milwaukee team in the second half, that looked like the Knicks from last year.
right.
Can we continue that? That may be a personnel issue, so I'm not sure. But there has to be something that we can bank on every single game. And right now, we don't have that yet. So I think that's it. Let's build off that Milwaukee cohesion and that Milwaukee defense. And let's see if we can get better at that. And with Kemba out, maybe we will, Not
Yeah,
that he was the only issue.
right. But if our defense is
Trying to be diplomatic, Andy. I'm working on
Yeah,
it.
I know you're throwing jabs, unfortunately.
I'm working on it.
right, if our defense really is, if it just looks that much better tonight, how does Thibodeau move forward? Obviously, it would be just one game, but if this continues to happen throughout the season, right? Kemba Walker rests, bring Derrick Rose to that start lineup, and the defense looks better. How does Tom Thibodeau proceed from there? Yeah, go ahead,
The elf
Steph.
treatment. The elf treatment. I think he'll still start Kimba. But I just think that he won't play a lot of minutes. If his shot is falling, if it seems like it's a net positive, he'll probably get more minutes in that second half, right? But if not, he just won't play. And I think it's going to be really dependent on how he's playing both offensively and defensively.
Yeah. Yeah, it's gonna be something. Well, Andy. Oh, go ahead, Andy.
Yeah, just to piggyback on what Steph said, listen, last game, for me personally, when I was watching the game, I really felt the hustle and the energy that Netherlands brought on the court. He was the most energetic Knicks player on the court, but that was versus a team that didn't have a big center and a tall starting lineup. Listen, the Cavs have bigger guys than him. So even though his energy, it's not going to be easy for him to get those hustle plays, those rebounds, those taps, and stuff like that. So this might be, Tibbs might be thinking, listen, I'm going to throw out Netherlands out there, but he's not going to have the same impact that he had on that Bucks game. And, for me, at least, Netherlands was a way better player versus Mitch the last game, and even going further, it might be a wise thing to consider starting Netherlands Noel instead of Mitch, as far as I see it. I was talking about it before the season, and I really think that Netherlands might be fitting that starting lineup a little bit better than Mitch. Then again, sometimes it just depending on the matchup and depending on the strategy. Thibs offense actually doesn't use the center position basically at all as a scoring option.
Right.
Even having Kemba as a point guard, that he's going to draw some defense. So the center position should be open, and it's open most of the times. They're not getting alley-oops. That should be the easiest play on the team and on the offense.
Right.
And we see it like 2, maybe 3 times a game.
Right.
If that would be double, I would say that it's like almost regular number and positioning, but it should be like even attempts, it should be like 10 times a game for me. Having a center like Mitch around the league, that should be at least 10 attempts.
Do you think it's the offense? Oh, sorry, Andy. No.
Yeah, if it was like seven times that he makes them out of 10, or the passes makes to Mitch hands and he gets fouled or whatever, Mitch would be like a double machine. But we know that we can't treat Netherlands like an ILU player, because he has, 2 pans for his hands. So listen, he
But
can't
he's
catch a
okay on
ball.
the alley oops, though. It's those
Yeah.
wraparounds. The
Yes.
alley oops, he's
Yeah.
okay. It's those wraparound passes that and Mitch
I
fumbles them too.
Yeah, and listen, I just see Netherlands, standing on that corner, waiting for that 3-pointer to launch. He's like thinking about, already shooting it, but he can't catch the ball. And I was like,
Listen, I seen a meme somebody put out the other day. Maybe it was today, and it had Nerlens Noel winning Defensive Player of the Year in one picture, and in the other picture he dropped it and broke it.
yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, that's bad.
So yeah, that listen, that's facts though. He needs that double-sided tape on his wrist. I really think
something.
NBA would allow some like in NFL the wide receivers has those gloves. If they could allow Netherlands to have those.
Stickums.
Yeah. Right. Stickums. Exactly. Well, Andy, what's your prediction for tonight?
Sim, I really hope the Knicks are gonna win because we're above the Cavs. But then again, we are barely clinching the playoffs at this position. And I know it's like only like the 10% in the season, but I really hope we're not gonna drop that far and have to claw back in the standings. So I really think we gotta stay in the top 6 in the East basically throughout the whole season. I really think that we need this W. Listen, we beat the NBA champs the previous game. They were without players, but that doesn't matter. Nobody remembers that now when we're looking at the Cavs. So listen, we got to get this W and go on to the next game tomorrow.
Yeah. I mean, right now in the Eastern Conference, Philadelphia is number 1. They're 8-2. Miami's in second place. They're 7-2. Chicago's 6-3 in third place. Brooklyn is 6-3. They're in fourth place. The Wizards are 6-3. They're in fifth place, and the Knicks are 6-3 in sixth place. Right. So it's basically a 4-way tie between the Bulls, the Nets, the Wizards, and the Knicks, and then the Cavs are 6-4 in seventh. The Raptors are 6-4. They're in eighth. Toronto is 5-5. They're in ninth. And the Bucks, the injured Bucks, are 4-5, and they're in 10th place. And you still got the Celtics who are looking outside of the play-in at this point. The Hawks are looking outside of the play-in. And you look at, all of these teams, and you wonder, okay, who do they replace that's in here? I mean, people would probably say Cleveland and Toronto, but I don't know. Toronto, I think, is going to remain a good team. We'll see what happens with Cleveland. I think Toronto's going to remain good.
Siakam is coming back in another week or so.
Yeah,
I think he played the
No,
first
no,
game.
he's
he
back
played?
now.
Yeah,
Oh,
he's back
wow.
the first game.
He's back now. See?
Okay.
So then the question is, okay, who do the Hawks and the Celtics replace at all these teams? The Hornets, the Raptors, the Cavs. Some people are going to say maybe they replace the Knicks. I don't think so, but yeah, the East.
Charlotte lost 3 straight.
Yeah, Charlotte lost 3 straight.
Wow.
You can't afford to do that in the East this year.
No.
Yeah.
Right.
And same that I'm going to repeat myself, but listen, that's why playing conference games versus Eastern Conference opponents really matters, because you get a W, they get an L. That's like you win 2 games on the West Coast trip.
Right.
That's so important. So
Yeah.
I'd rather win all the games on the East and lose all the games on the West than the other way around.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Something. Well, ladies and gentlemen, the game begins at 6 p.m. tonight. Don't forget it's 6 p.m. tonight. And we'll see if the Knicks can come away victorious, ladies and gentlemen. I should be able to jump on a pregame show. So, look forward to hopefully the Knicks winning. Oh, I didn't get around. Steph, what's your prediction for tonight?
The Knicks win if the Knicks are playing defense like they played against Milwaukee. I think if the Knicks are not playing defense and they're allowing those guards to get into the lane at will, the Knicks will lose. But I'm going to say Knicks win.
Okay. And Ron?
Yeah, I say the same thing. I think I think I had the Knicks winning this game when I made a prediction earlier. So yeah, I think the Knicks win. I think it's not going to be easy. This could be a close one. So I'm not. If people are expecting blowout, I don't see it. I think the Knicks will be lucky to get this win, to be honest, because right now the Cavs as a team might be playing better than the Knicks. So we can beat them, but it won't be easy. That's all I say.
Yeah, I think we win, but I think it's going to be a tough one. This might be a nail biter tonight. I think, it's going to be a tough one, and I think it might be a struggle. The Knicks might have to scratch it out and find a way to win this game just because of the matchup, the matchups. I think, you know what I mean. Might be a tough one, but I think we do win. I think we scrape it out. I think we scrape out a tough one. But ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate you guys for being here. Let's root the Knicks on. Let's get this win tonight. And ladies and gentlemen, we're out of here. Be peaceful. Spread love. Out.
This is NBK, nothing but Knicks. When Sim passed the assist, you know that it's #1 show that breaks down the game. If you can't play defense, stay out my way. Dribble the ball, come down the lane. 5 seconds on the shot clock. Who gon' win us the game? You wanna hear Nick updates and trade rumors? Post-game reviews, this the place to tune in. So tell a friend just to keep the ball moving. Like the page if you feeling the movement. Every game we coming to win. Give us a sub like a player that came off the bench. This is NBK, nothing but Knicks.